Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead on porch time today. Sitting back on my deck again because I just love being behind my house back here. The terrain behind me, you see the terraces up here. I have a terrace row here and a terrace row up there, and then there's down at the bottom there's the pig pen fence. It's just, I love being where I can see nature behind me. Um, it's just peaceful back here. And that's kind of one of the things I want to talk to you about today, that being porch time is coming out this week ahead of Thanksgiving. And the topic is it possible to be thankful in the midst of turmoil? And that seems to be something that I see lots of people dealing with here lately. Even us here at Deep South Homestead, we're facing the very same challenges in our lives. Is it possible for us to be thankful in the midst of all the turmoil that we're going through here at Deep South Homestead? Now, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons to this. A lot of people says, well, I don't know if this is actually possible. And sometimes when you're going through the things that we're going through, you often ask yourself that very same question. Is it really possible for me to be thankful with everything that I'm going through? It doesn't necessarily have to be what we're dealing with here at Deep South Homestead. It can be the fact of the loss of a job. It could be the loss of a loved one, a spouse, physical issues. There's lots of different kinds of issues or challenges that a person can face that would make them think or believe that it is not possible for them to be happy during this time of the year. And it is not possible for them to be happy going through the turmoil that they're having to face at this particular time. Now, a person has to really sit down when they're in the midst of turmoil, and they have to stop and they have to focus and they have to think about actually what's going on around them and what they're actually facing. Is this something that I have absolutely no control over? Is this a man-made issue? Is this something that's caused by someone else? Is this a spiritual issue? What exactly is it that I'm facing here right now that is drawing my thankfulness away from me? And it can be an array of different things. It doesn't necessarily have to be any one thing. The key to this is determining who you are as an individual. How do you deal with problems when they come up in your life? Do you spaz out? Do you sit back and do you ask yourself, what do I need to do? How do I need to approach this? Do you let it control your every thought that you have? Do you look at it and say, in life there's going to be these problems that we face, or these challenges that we face, should I say, and I'm not going to let it actually destroy who I am. The Apostle Paul in the scriptures made the comment. He said, I've learned that in whatsoever state I'm in, therewith to be content. And that can be extremely hard at times, especially when whatever it is that's trying to steal your thankfulness and your joy away from you is so large and so big. It looks like, remember we did the video here a while back, Facing the Giants. It's become a giant in your life, and it makes it extremely difficult for us to face whatever it is that we're facing. It seems overwhelming at the time. It seems like there's absolutely no answers to it. And the only thing that brings any sanity to me in my life is just like David in the scripture said. He said, Father, and I'm going to paraphrase this, he said, Father, if I did not know the end of the wicked, I would think that you're unfair. Because it seems like the wicked prosper in every way that there is. And that's basically how I'm learning to look at life. You know, because right now we're dealing with total wickedness. And this wickedness is escalating itself around me. And we've been praying for like 11 months now over a particular situation. And it has not gotten better, it's actually gotten worse. And you have to ask yourself the question, Father, you know, why? You know, what's going on here? Why do we not have any answers? And the simple fact is, I have to look back and go, you know, I know their end if they do not make a change. And because I know that, I'm like David said in the scriptures, you know, Father, I know that because I know their end, you know, they're going to get what they deserve in the end. And it's extremely sad, but at the same time, we have to continue to pray for those people to understand that sometimes people don't realize that they're in the shape that they're in. And we have to just be patient. And that can be one of the hardest things that you can do when you're in the midst of going through something that is just tremendously bad, is to be facing the evil that is around you and let it be stealing what joy and thankfulness you have for life away from you in the midst of what seems to be something that is just irreversible. But I will assure you that at some point God will step in and He does eradicate the problem. It's just that us as His children, do we possess the patience and the ability to wait it out and to see the hand of God move in a person's life? Sometimes it can be for the better, sometimes it can be for the worst. I've actually been into situations. There was one time when we were in a church and a bunch of deacons come up against the pastor, and they literally they made false accusations. There was all kinds of things made. And the funny thing about it is that within a year, all those deacons had died, but the very deacon that stood with the pastor was still alive, and that man lived to be a very old age. So it took years, but in the end, God was just. So when we're facing things like the giants in our life, or the obstacles or the challenges that we want to call them, whatever we're facing that seems to be so uncontrollable and so evil, we have to understand that even in the midst of all of this, God Himself is still in control. That He has not forgot us, because we have to understand that God makes the statement to us, I will never leave you and I'll never forsake you. And that's the one thing that I keep holding on to, is that one very thought. That thought is what keeps me going on a daily basis, is knowing that He never leaves me and He never forsakes me. And that He will always be there for me whenever I need Him, no matter whatever the challenge is that I'm facing. And that no matter how dark the sky gets, and no matter how gloomy the day may become, it just, it's extremely possible to be thankful in the midst of the most turmoil that we're facing. Lots of us face physical attributes in our life, physical challenges. And I know me personally, I'm probably one of the world's worst at this. I sit back a lot of times and I think about the past, and I think about all the things I used to be able to do when my physical health was better than what it is. And if I'm not careful, I started having little pity parties for myself. And usually it takes a little bit of something in my life to happen for me to realize that I need to be thankful for what health I do have and what I can still do. Because God will always, it seems like, always let me see someone that's a little bit worse off than I am, and kind of, as the old expression goes, kind of reel me back in. And sometimes it takes that. I know here lately, a lot of people have been asking me to please do another All God's Children. And I really would like to. But because of the challenge that I've been facing here for the last several months, that seems to just escalate. It doesn't seem to get any better. It's actually, like I said, it's getting worse. I'm really not in the frame of mind a lot of times to do an All God's Children, and I know that's doing a disservice to my father. I've got to learn, like the scripture says, that whatever state I'm in, I got to learn to be content. And I do apologize for those, those of you who love to watch All God's Children. I'm actually trying right now to work on another video for that channel to try to get it out. I'm just struggling because I'm tired. I'm wore out, and it's not from physical work. It's the exhaustion of fighting the enemy. The enemy has come after us in so many different ways that it's unimaginable. And we're not losing any ground, but we're not gaining any ground either. We're just holding our own. And I would like to say thank you to the person who actually made the comment a couple of videos back about putting on the whole armor of God. And I read that comment, and it really was encouraging to me, because many times we forget that there's those verses that are put there just for that reason, that we're to suit up when we go against the enemy. And those fiery darts that come against us, we're to be able to put that armor on, and it will help us to stand when the enemy is up against us. And once we do that, then we don't lose our joy anymore, and we're able to be content, like the Apostle Paul says, and we are able to be thankful in the midst of turmoil. Now, I know that there's a lot of people out there that says, you know, Danny, it's just about impossible what I'm facing. And I will agree, because I'm in that boat now. But like I said, I'm trying to hang on to hope that a situation can be eradicated, and that true joy and true thankfulness can actually be returned again. And because, especially because we're going into this season of thankfulness here, and I guess the one thing that probably aggravates me the most in life is that the season of Thanksgiving is being kind of swept under the rug, if you will. It's like we go from Halloween, which is wicked, right straight into Christmas, and the very one holiday that's probably the best of all holidays, which is the season of Thanksgiving, it's just overlooked. We went to Walmart to get a pumpkin for Thanksgiving. We wanted the seeds to be able to feed to our pigs to help worm them, and to feed the rest of it to our chickens and pigs, other pigs and stuff like that. There were no pumpkins in Walmart. I was blown away. I was like, because we don't have any other stores around us or any other place to buy anything like that. There were no pumpkins, and I asked, and the lady goes, "Oh, Halloween's over. We got Christmas now." I said, "Well, what about pumpkins for Thanksgiving? To make the pumpkin pies and to be able to do that kind of stuff. And she said, well, you can buy the canned pumpkin for that. I was blown away. I'm like, really? I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I didn't see anything in the store for Thanksgiving, and it was Thanksgiving. There was literally nothing. I walked around through the store looking. There was nothing nowhere for Thanksgiving. It was all about Christmas. The whole store was decorated for Halloween. The whole store is decorated for Christmas. There was no decorations for the one true holiday that's actually legitimate, is to give thanks to our Father for the freedoms and everything that we possess, the fact that we can worship together, the fact that we can do YouTube right now. Our country has gone down the tube, guys. Is it possible to be thankful in the midst of all the turmoil that's around us? It doesn't necessarily have to be against a stupid neighbor like we have here. It can just be against the system. The system doesn't even acknowledge Thanksgiving anymore. And yet, here we are. What do? Do we cease to be thankful just simply because our society has chosen not to be thankful? There are those of us that love to be thankful and that want to be thankful. And yet, all of our joy is trying to be robbed by the system that's around us. So I challenge you as an individual, look deep within your own self. Forget the rest of the world. Come out from among them, my people. Be ye separate. Be thankful. Because you know the one thing that will get you further with the Father than anything else is to be thankful. In all things, give thanks. And guys, you know what? Even with all that we're facing here, I still have to look at my Father and say, Father, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for everything you've done in my life. If y'all was to call my wife right now on the phone and ask her, when Danny prays, what does he always say? And she would tell you that over 90% of my prayers is, Father, thank you for this. Thank you for that. Thank you for being here for me. Thank you for giving to me when I don't deserve to be given to. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for blessing us. Thank you for providing for us what you do provide. 90% of my prayers are just saying thank you. Because I'm trying my best to learn to be thankful in the midst of turmoil. Because I do believe in my own heart that true joy in life can only come once a person learns to be thankful for what they already have. God will never give you any more than what you possess until you first learn to be thankful for what you already have. And I guess if there's anything I'm trying to tell homesteaders today, or just any individual, not necessarily homesteaders, but any individual that's watching this video, above all things in your life, learn to be thankful and watch your life change. The enemy will come after you in any form that he can. But if you will not give ground to the enemy, and you will only be thankful, the enemy can't stay there. He has to go. So I challenge you, to be thankful and to enjoy the life that you've been given, because it could be worse. You could not have the health to be able to get out and do anything. I know Porch Time's not going to be very long today, because I'm sure y'all hear the dogs in the background now. You hear that? And I'm on the back side of my house. If I was on the front side of my house, you wouldn't even be able to hear me talking, because they're that loud. The neighbor is setting them off, because that's the kind of people we're living around now. That's the state that our world is in. The Bible says in the last days the love of many will wax cold. And that's exactly what we're facing here. It's another challenge that we have to learn to deal with. But you know what? Even in the midst of everything, I'm still going to be thankful for what I have, where I'm at. And at some point, justice will be given. And guys, I challenge you today, be thankful, because that's where true joy lies. I'm not going to keep going on Porch Time today. I'm going to cut it short, because I've got some things I've got to go take care of, and I love each and every one of y'all. I'm going to tell you that. I thank God every day for giving y'all to us on our YouTube channel, because y'all bring so much joy into our life. And I know a lot of y'all say that we really love your videos, we really love this, we really love that. But guys, let me tell you something. You probably do more good for us than we'll ever do for you, because many of y'all are now our extended families. And our families and our communities over YouTube has just grown and grown and grown. And now we have the gathering coming up. Guys, we've already had 2 of them. They turned out great, a lot bigger than we anticipated. And this year we're expecting even more. We're expecting God to do bigger and greater things. So we're hoping and we're praying that He will. Because our desire is to build a community of like-minded people, so that we, when we're feeling down in the dumps, can go to one of the friends that we've made here on these channels, and we can be encouraged, and we can be lifted up, and once again be thankful for all the things that we have. Because really, it's up to us to hold our fellow brother and sisters up and help strengthen them during times of turmoil in their life, so that they don't lose their thankfulness and the enemy wins in the end. We don't ever want to let that happen. The enemy must be eradicated, and we must have victory in our lives. So guys, let me just say this. Straight from my heart to yours, from Deep South Homestead, Wanda and I love y'all. We're thankful that we have y'all on our channel. And I want y'all to know that. I may not ever tell people in my life a lot about how I feel. But right now, I want to tell y'all I'm thankful that each and every one of y'all watch my videos. I want to tell y'all that there's so many of you that we've learned to love. Many of you have visited our home here. We've built relationships that will last a lifetime. And that's important to us. I pray that this legacy that we're building will continue on forever, because it is our desire to build a fantastic community of like-minded people. Guys, I love y'all, and I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to watch Porch Time. Because in a lot of ways, porch time helps to reel me back in when I'm having a bad day. And it just seems to help me find my level place in life where I need to be. And that's because of y'all. It's not nothing I've done. It's because y'all have been a blessing to me and Wanda by watching our videos. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful I live in a country where I can still sit and do this openly and freely. And that's a blessing. So guys, have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the life that you have, because it could be taken in a moment's notice. So thank y'all from Deep South Homestead.